Sustainability. What does it really mean? To use our resources wisely? To embrace a lifestyle that ensures that what we have today will still be here tomorrow? At the University of Washington, sustainability goes beyond brave talk and dreamy ideas. For the past century, the UW has implemented a wide array of programs, disciplines, and curriculums that foster a greener planet.
We're becoming more smart about how we are working and living and breathing and taking care of our kids and the kids to come.
Considered to be one of the most eco-friendly universities in the country, the UW has received the highest grade for on-campus sustainability 4 years in a row.
People look to us as leaders in sustainability, and so to put in place policies that actually hold us all accountable, I think is very important.
Journey with us as we explore how the UW is living sustainability on campus. From a dedicated commitment to recycling to a smarter use of energy, the UW is pointing the way to a more sustainable lifestyle. It's in our nature.
The university has always been ahead of the curve on energy conservation and actually on carbon reduction. These are things that we have worked on long before they became more mainstream issues.
And take a behind-the-scenes peek at the UW's most ambitious renovation project, a structure that will set the standard for future outdoor arenas. All this and more now on Climate of Change. They look like astronauts, marching down the hallway en route to a launching pad. But these students are on a different type of mission.
Everybody suited up?
They are volunteers for the UW's Garbology Project, a unique campaign that's documenting how efficiently we recycle waste on campus.
Garbology Project is basically a student organization where we examine the waste that we produce on campus as a means of measuring how well we're doing with our recycling and composting and waste disposal on campus.
Graduate student Jack Johnson is director of the Garbology Project. On this day, all the trash that has been collected in Denny Hall is being transported to a garbage depot where it will be sorted, weighed, and analyzed.
Don't forget, we're still saving the plastic utensils. Yeah. We're sorting the trash into its 3 sort of primary constituent categories: recyclables, compostables, and landfill waste. We're only sorting out stuff that came from Denny Hall within the last day that was placed in a bin that's landfill bound. So this is all stuff that users of Denny Hall assigned as trash. We're doing this to sort of categorize where the largest inefficiencies are in our waste collection system as it is right now. Users have a lot of decisions they have to make on the fly, and I'm not sure it's really fair for us to expect them to make all of them accurately all the time. I think we can do a better job communicating with people. So some people just don't know, so ignorance is a part of it. Some of it is a failure on our part to really reach out to them and to design a system that's easier for them to use and more standardized. Because the more decisions people have to make, the less likely they are going to make them, and the less likely they're going to make them correctly.
I didn't even eat half this food. Hey.
Unfortunately, the garbologists are sifting through a lot of plastic bottles and compostable deposits. Waste that should have been placed in recycling or composting bins.
Only about 5% of what people throw away on campus belongs in a landfill. So 95% of what we throw away should end up anywhere other than here.
A new drive has been created to improve the percentage. It's called the Minimax Project, a self-service waste collection system that's designed to minimize waste while maximizing recycling.
It's a recycling bin with a little trash bin in it. Users put their recyclable materials in here and their trash in here, and then they empty those into the hall themselves.
Jack Johnson hopes this will all lead to a better understanding of what we throw away and where it needs to go.
If we improve like we think we can make huge improvements in terms of our sustainability on campus.
The Garbology and Minimax projects are just two examples of a comprehensive recycling and solid waste management plan designed to make the university as proficient as possible when it comes to trash.
I love talking trash.
Emily Newcomer is the UW's Recycling Operations Manager. She says the university's commitment to recycling is far-reaching and far greater than what many would expect.
We have so many programs in place, not just your standard recycling, your papers, your cans, bottles. We have food waste, but we have construction and demolition, we have scrap metal, we have toner cartridges, we have styrofoam. We're just constantly researching and testing the waters, if you will, to see how much stuff we can continue to get out of the waste stream.
One of the new tests is the addition of solar-powered compacting kiosks.
It has a compactor unit that's driven by the sun, solar powered, and it increases the capacity of that container 5 times to 1 of a traditional container.
In other words, 50 gallons of garbage is automatically compacted into 10 gallons by the power of the sun.
So not only is it helping us divert our trash, but it's also we're gaining a lot of collection efficiency as well.
Still, there is much work to be done when it comes to recycling on campus.
We found that 60% of what was being thrown away was actually compostable.
Emily Newcomer says those numbers have been improving since the installation of the kiosks in the Student Commons and Campus Center.
Since we've installed these both at the Hub and Red Square, 80% of what's being collected is recycling and compostable.
The commitment to recycling doesn't end there. At the end of the school year, the annual Student Cleanup, Recycle, and Move Out event, better known as SCRAM, collects unwanted items that are left behind by students who are moving out of residence halls. SCRAM's goal is to sort through the rubble and find reusable goods that could be donated to local charities.
The joys of dumpster day. Acoustic guitar, look at that.
SCRAM started in 2003, and since that time, we have diverted nearly 20 tons of material that normally would have gone to the landfill towards donations to a nonprofit or local charitable organizations.
Recycling on campus seems to be contagious. Over at Poplar Hall, students on the 3rd floor have taken the initiative to do everything they can to create what they call a certified sustainability community in their residence hall.
So I decided to be an RA on the floor just because I was interested in sustainability as a lifestyle choice. And with the floor, we're really trying to reach out to students that have similar interests.
Resident advisor Michelle Latham says those interests include a disciplined approach to composting and recycling.
We have trash rooms on all of our floors, and we have huge compost bins, but we actually have these small containers that residents can keep in their rooms. And they could put leftovers in here, they can put banana peels in here, they can put food soiled products in here as well.
It's something unique to Poplar Hall, and so far, the students are steadfast in their commitment.
I think the thing that has stood out most to me is just the accessibility of recycling, how convenient it is for people. I know that in my town, it's a pretty small town, and we have one recycling plant, and there's definitely not curbside recycling. So if you want to recycle, then you have to get it all in some sort of truck or large vehicle, take it several miles, to the plant, and during their limited times. And so I think it's really special that this floor and other floors have recycling chutes, so it's just as easy as throwing things away.
High five!
Living the new sustainability on campus. It includes everything under the sun, green residence halls, extensive recycling projects, solar-powered kiosks, even the types of products used to keep the UW clean and tidy.
We've been on the forefront for a number of years relative to the issues of sustainability.
Charles Kennedy, Associate Vice President of Facilities Services, says the UW has implemented several programs that greatly benefit life on campus.
We have a program where we use eco-friendly products for the landscape environment on campus, low pesticides. We recognize that as a university, we touch the waterfronts here, Lake Washington, Portage Bay, and therefore what we do on campus affects that environment. It affects the salmon.
The dedication to using eco-friendly products doesn't end there. Facility Services now use certified green cleaning solutions with reduced amounts of chemicals to sustain a healthy and clean environment on campus. And great strides have been made in the past decade to lower our water consumption.
We think about our utilities, how we've reduced water on campus to the point that today, compared to 1996, we've saved enough water on a daily basis that could cover an acre 600 feet deep.
So what we're going to do today is take a look at the two goals that touch our lives around the environmental sustainability climate action plan.
Perhaps the UW's most significant commitment to sustainability comes with its push to reduce its carbon footprint. In January 2009, a team of students, faculty, administrative leaders, and staff worked together to develop a climate action plan. The plan offers specific strategies that will lower the university's carbon emissions over time.
Our hope is to become climate neutral by 2050.
Ruth Johnston, Associate Vice Provost in Organizational Excellence, says around 600 institutions of higher learning made a similar commitment to climate neutrality when they signed the American College and University President's Climate Commitment. The declaration asks colleges to create and implement a comprehensive plan that reduces carbon emissions.
We were one of the founding signatories, so that's one thing that makes us unique. What makes us unique in general is that this is one of the things that students come to the university for, and that we want them to come to the university for, and that our faculty and staff care so much, partly because it's the Northwest. But we have a lot of research going on in this area as well, partly because of where we're located. But just the people here care about this tremendously.
The Climate Action Plan encourages students, faculty, and staff, nearly 70,000 people, to lower their carbon footprint by using less paper, using energy-efficient appliances, composting, recycling glass and plastic, living near the UW campus, seeking clean, non-motorized forms of transportation. The list goes on and on.
And so with the Climate Action Plan, it dictates a list of about 70 strategies. Some of them are technical, how we're going to build our buildings, but some of them are really about how we help people decide to commute in a different way.
Without question, energy reduction on campus is of the highest priority. That's one reason the UW signed on to be part of a broad federal smart grid project that will hopefully give power providers new ideas on how to use modern technology to lower our carbon footprint.
So this is an example of a smart meter, and we've installed these throughout the entire campus in every significant building.
John Chapman, Executive Director of Campus Engineering and Operations and Facility Services, says a simple-looking meter like this, placed in the right spot, can help the UW become more energy efficient.
And what the smart meter does is it collects data in near real time. Your utility meter at home, they usually only read that once a month, so you know what happened during that month. But we know what's happening every 5 minutes. And so we can almost in real time envision what the electrical consumption patterns are in the building.
How can that data help the UW save money?
We're using that information to go in reset the operational schedules and parameters for the building. You know, there's times a day when maybe we don't need to run the ventilation system at such a high rate or with such a high temperature setting. So we're just now working with these systems to see what kind of energy gains we can have through this smart grid technology.
The smart meters are just one tool being used in a massive $178 million smart grid demonstration project, sponsored in part with federal stimulus money. It's a partnership between government agencies, researchers, private companies, and 11 utilities in 5 western states. The University of Washington contributed $5 million to the partnership. The Smart Grid project will collect data about energy use and give the UW and other consumers more information about how they're using power.
A smart grid allows us to understand what's happening to that electricity when it's coming. You know, how much is being used, where is it being used, what time of day is it being used. And by having that additional information, we're able to make decisions and come up with ideas on saving energy.
The notion of saving energy is nothing new to the UW.
We've done a number of measures over the years to reduce energy conservation on campus. We started in the mid-90s. We had a very notable project then when we went through and re-lamped the entire campus using higher efficiency fluorescent lights with electronic ballasts.
Chapman says if you go back to 1995, when the UW became really serious about energy conservation, the cumulative savings are staggering.
The cumulative amount that we haven't spent because of that is around $75 million. So these savings are significant.
$75 million in savings. It's all promising news to students living in residence halls who are learning about the UW's smart grid.
This is my Energy Hub device. It's a device that it helps let me control some of the appliances that are in my room.
Simone Schaefer is the 4th floor resident advisor in the newly constructed Elm Hall. To her, being a part of the smart grid means using a handheld wireless device like this that gives her the ability to turn on or off a bank of energy-guzzling appliances in her room with the touch of a button.
This one right now is connected down here to an energy strip, which controls both of my monitors that are on my screen, and then my speakers and my printer, just kind of in one place. And so this lets me turn each of those appliances on and off at free will.
Simone has the system programmed to come on at 7 a.m. when she wakes up. She'll turn everything off when she leaves for class. When she returns to her room at 3:30, the system has been programmed to come back on its own.
It's energy saving with no loss of convenience.
Appliances that are left plugged into an outlet continue to draw energy even when they're turned off.
But it's still using a whole bunch of energy that I didn't realize it was using before. But this actually turns the whole power off, and so no energy is used at all. So that's great.
To make Elm Hall as efficient as possible, around 200 students are now using the energy monitoring devices. It's not the only way students are being asked to screen their use of resources. In all new residence halls, electronic dashboards, essentially giant TV monitors, have been placed in hallways to give students an idea of how much water, gas, or electricity they are using compared to other students.
We can identify simultaneously, if we see huge spikes in these things, we can also go look for problems. Why are these things happening like this?
J.R. Fulton, Capital Planning and Sustainability Manager for Housing and Food Services, says the dashboards relay a lot of information that'll be useful to students.
So there's a whole series of features on here. We'll take a quick look at the electricity, and this is going to identify the electricity today, so you can see how the students are using it.
The idea is to get students to pay attention to their energy consumption on a regular basis. If they can see their daily progress, the hope is that it will eventually convince them to consume less water and power.
We can look at it over time. We can potentially compare buildings. In the future, we actually plan to be able to compare floors on this so that we can see how energy use is.
In buildings and residence halls, power plants, and open spaces on campus, sustainability is real. It's being practiced everywhere, even in the largest structure of all. Since 1920, Husky Stadium has played host to a countless number of thrilling moments, but structural and seismic issues made it necessary to rebuild. Renovation began in November 2011. The goal from the beginning was to make this giant structure of concrete and steel as green as possible.
Well, we want to be great stewards.
Project manager Chip Lightham is quite pleased with the steps being taken to make the new Husky Stadium as sustainable as possible. It all began with demolition.
We tore down the former deck behind me. It was a full 15,000 seat deck that was built in 1950 that was demolished to the ground. 90% of that structure, concrete and steel, was ground up and recycled. And most of the concrete was ground up and used on site as backfill for the new stadium. So both for cost, for sustainability, for truck travel, there were less truck trips out of here.
Next came measures to protect waterways near the stadium. With the UW being a certified salmon-safe campus, all toxic runoff from the construction site was filtered before it went into Lake Washington.
We had a retention pond built by the contractor on site. It was pretty remarkable. Usually they rent those facilities, but it was such a massive runoff job, not from the lake, but from the site proper, that water, again, with all the debris, needed to be filtered before it went into the system.
When it came to choosing building materials, regional wood, stone, and brick were used as much as possible.
The steel was put together in Portland, Oregon, so it didn't come from overseas. We have a lot of our materials are right in the Puget Sound area. So it helps our own economy. It's kind of local grown in effect, and then we don't have all the transportation issues to bring it, which puts a heavier footprint on. So that was really a high-profile effort we had.
What really stands out is the lovely woodwork you'll find in corridors and tunnels.
There are natural wood products in the Pacific Northwest, and I don't think there is a stadium in America that has this kind of treatment. It's very authentic, very natural, part of the environment. It's great.
Inside the stadium, transportation has changed dramatically. Karen Babler, assistant athletic director, says the old stadium, believe it or not, had only one elevator. Now it has 10.
It used to be that we would have fans brought up to their upper level seats and turrets that went around, and golf carts, gas golf carts would take them up. So now they'll be riding the elevators instead of taking the golf carts. In addition, we'd have trucks that would come through the stadium and gather all the waste. And now instead of trucks going through, the elevators will serve as a vehicle for moving waste.
Speaking of waste, there are no garbage containers in the stadium. None. Only bins for compost and recycling. All concessionary food containers will be compostable or recyclable. Highly unusual for a football stadium.
In the arena, we found that 55% of the waste that was going into the garbage cans was actually compostable. So most of the materials in the stadium will be compostable.
The list of sustainable practices here seems endless. 90% of construction waste is being recycled. Animal habitats have been protected. Trees and shrubs that stood here before the renovation were saved and replanted on site. For Chip Lightham, it's only natural for this to be all happening at the newly renovated Husky Stadium.
I'm a Seattle native, so this is and a UW graduate, so this is really exciting to basically make Husky Stadium last for another 100 years, another few generations, and then do it with our eye on sustainability.
With its eye on sustainability, the University of Washington has earned its place in the upper echelon of environmentally sound campuses. Can it last forever? Next on Climate of Change, we explore the UW's commitment to the future. Can the power we harness from the ocean really help us curb our carbon emissions? Then, how can fog save a low-income community that gets less than an inch of rain per year. Researchers at the UW Biology Department are working on a solution.
With an array of these fog collectors, you can actually begin to get a substantial amount of water.
And journey to the bottom of the sea with a team of scientists led by the University of Washington. They're on a multi-year mission to discover how the secrets of the ocean can someday improve the way we live on dry land. All this and more next time on Climate of Change.